John.
I'm Liz.
We're the Grandies, and we are the founders of Resilient Coaching. We help people move forward stronger. But before we could do that, we had to help ourselves move forward stronger. We need to do the work on our own heart and brokenness. And for me, it was struggling through an addiction to pornography. And for Liz, she was sexually abused. And so we had to figure out a way to even mold our past together and bring healing to each other as we invited God's restoration and transformation in our lives. As a pastor for almost 20 years, I've really enjoyed meeting with families and couples who came to my office asking for help. And I found myself asking, how can I do this more? I love helping people discover restoration. In fact, we got to do that together through coaching couples as they prepared for marriage, and I loved having you be a part of that with me.
Yeah. And I've always had a heart for psychology and mental health. I was in an accident in high school and developed PTSD from that, and I had a really great counseling experience in high school that gave me a passion and a desire to study psychology. And so that's what I got my undergrad in, and then I went on to finish my graduate degree in grief and trauma counseling. And so we found that we worked really well together, and naturally inviting couples into our home and just being encouraging to our friends. And this was a natural evolution for us.
Yeah, I remember in 2017 when I was at the lowest spot of my life, and you asked me, what is your confidence on a scale of 1 to 10? And I said, a 1. And I think that scared you because
I'd never heard him say that before.
And so I realized I had to get on my face literally before God and ask him to remind me who I was, remind me what my identity was in Christ. And at that point, he started rebuilding me from the ground up. There was this demolition of who I was and this renovation of who he wanted me to be. And that was the birth of Resilient Coaching in 2017. At that moment, we realized we need to rebuild others like God has rebuilt us. And he is a dynamic part of that process. And it's such a joy to be able to work with him in the restoration of others.
Absolutely. So we have 3 little kids, and I took a break from my schooling to raise them, and also had a business that I ran and then sold. And eventually we ended up coaching together a few years ago, and ever since it's just grown above and beyond what we could have expected. But both feel like we have to pinch ourselves that we get to do this, not only living out our calling individually, but also together and as a team.
Yeah, she mentioned our calling. They really line up well together. You know, I'm called to help people realize and reach restoration in Christ.
And I am called to lead others in truth and vulnerability to encounter healing and wholeness in Christ. And so those mesh really well together, and we do it in our own unique styles and ways. And but that's the beautiful thing about coaching, is that we get to tailor it to each client individually and let it be the best experience for them.
You mentioned pinching ourselves, and when we think about working with over 100 clients in 5 years so far, it is just amazing to think about that. And we feel like we're just getting started as we begin to step into a couple new seasons and new ideas that we have brewing for the future of Resilient. And it's just such a joy that we've been able to help so many people. It's a humbling experience, to be honest, and we feel like we're just getting started.